on Twitter. How do I share this? Hello, everyone. Hopefully this will work. I'm just going to quickly share this on Twitter. One moment, Rin. I won't be a sec.
Yeah, I did reactivate my Twitter account. So you could,
you have?
yes.
Oh,
So
I can contact you there. So,
yeah,
it's running.
That's Rin Michaelis because I reactivated it.
Oh, cool. It's running. Good, good. I'll just click Twitter, and then so people can see it. That's cool. Right, yeah. Yep, it seems to be working all right. I'll go back to StreamYard. Hello, everybody. Welcome, everyone, to this sort of experimental live stream I'm doing here. A new one, quite something new I've not done before. But I'd like to welcome everyone in the live chat. And it's great you're joining me. Now, you're used to me doing these, and I do them solo. I won't be able to interact with you as I normally do this evening, so you're going to have to play amongst yourselves. But I have with me a guest. It's Rin Michaelis, who is a fellow content creator on YouTube. And so I couldn't think of a better person to do this thing with me for the first time, this new thing I've not done before. So Rin, hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine, thanks. Very, very, very well indeed. I've just got to realise I was on your show last week on your channel, and I'll have to put a link to that as well. I haven't done that yet, but I will do.
Yeah,
I'll do that afterwards.
Yeah, you could link my channel, or you could create, say, a playlist for every, if you do a lot of live streams on other people's channels, like, I don't know how many channels you've been in, but if you've been like in 5 different live streams on 5 different channels, you could perhaps, have a playlist, like a guest appearance playlist for all the times you've appeared on other people's channels.
Well, I just realised I've just adjusted the description box. I've already got a link to your channel in the description box, but I thought I would just adjust. I would just adjust it so that the actual link is there to my show, because of course I was on your show. I was on your show a little while ago. Let's just check that's working. Yeah, it's just because I'm new to this, it takes me a while to get this sorted out.
Yeah, I was new to too, but what's her name again? Her name is Self-Made Woman. She had to teach me how to use it.
Yeah, it's actually not too bad. It's now I'm encountering a few issues I've got to solve, but it won't take a moment. But I've been dealing with this guy called Chris. He's known as Peter Croft, and he uses StreamYard, and he's been sort of helping me a little bit as well. And you yourself gave me a bit of advice, which was good. But anyway, it's great you're here, and everyone's saying hello to you. So there we are. So BitShoot says hi. I don't know if you can see that. There we are.
I don't see anything, but what I could do is that I could since you put the link on Twitter, what I could do is just I could click on Twitter and just manually go to your YouTube page and just look at chats that way.
Oh, the Crafty Nihilist. Hello, Crafty Nihilist. How are you? I hope you're right. Oh, I've got to show Crafty. I've still got these. I haven't put them on anything. Can you see them all right? I've still got them. I haven't sewed them on. I tried sewing them on. It didn't work very well, but I just thought I'd show that. But everyone's sort of saying hello to, and Stephen Truthseeker's there as well, and Onslow. So these are all the people who are watching this evening. But do you use live chat when you do these? I don't remember if there was one when I was on your show.
I think there was live chat going on, but I think that nobody said anything.
Oh, right. So what got you into YouTube? What just made you decide you want to put your face out there in the internet where everyone can see it and all kinds of things can happen?
Well, I do that. Many people have always wanted to do YouTube, like who hasn't thought about being famous once when they were a child?
Yeah, I suppose it's great because we can do this nowadays. I mean, it's only a few years ago this technology didn't exist, and you just have to go along to auditions and things. But now, independent people you could become a star completely off your own back. People like Sargon of Akkad and several other people. They've become very well known, completely self-made kind of. found their audience personally, which is really quite unusual, isn't it? It's wonderful.
Yeah, some people have grown up with YouTube has always existed. They didn't know that there was a time where you had to go all the way to like Hollywood or whatnot to do like auditions and to, get seen on camera. But now, because of YouTube, you could just turn it on and you could just, grow, but YouTube has become corporatized. They are now, pushing, up, mainstream media, and they're pushing, everything back because before when you look for the news, it would be YouTubers that will show up. Now when you look for the news, it's just going to be Fox News, ABC, NBC, and MSNBC.
Yeah, I was actually I did a test of this because I wanted to know what was going on, and I just basically opened up a completely fresh browser I'd not used before, so there were no cookies on it or anything. And I just tried searching for my own videos, and they were much harder to find. I mean, my channel, you literally had to type in every single letter on my channel title to find it. And it's the only reason that's happening, because it never used to be the case, is that YouTube's deliberately trying to reduce my channel's visibility. I've essentially been shadow banned.
Oh, it's not just you. I mean, especially if you talk about the news, pretty much all the YouTubers have been shut up in because it used to be when you search news topics,
Hello, Rin.
it would be like hi. There used to be can you hear me?
Yeah, you just went off. You went off briefly. You're all right. You're back now. Carry on.
Yeah, it used to be like when you search news topics, Sargon of Akkad and PewDiePie, they used to be at the very top of the search results. Now they've disappeared completely, and it'll be like Fox News, NBC, MSNBC. It would just be entirely mainstream media outlets. They are censoring content creators.
Yeah, it's. I think they want to produce something. I think there's even people just decided to call it something like YouTube TV, which is just a horrible name. Well, they want to kind of turn it into a television station, and people like us, the people who built it, we're being handed our hats and we're being shown the door. Basically, they're not kicking us out actively, but.
It's like, why is it still called a YouTube? It's like it's corporate tube, because before, when it was, really YouTube, before the corporations came, back when the corporate zero interest in it, it would be like entirely content creators, and it was super easy to grow your channel back when it was new. But yeah, like you remember Fred, right?
Yeah.
Fred first got to get 1 million YouTube subscribers, and it was a huge deal. But it's like nowadays, it's taking the U out of YouTube because it's supposed to be the average person, where the average person has a shot to become famous. But now it's kind of a lot like they're suppressing the average person, and they are uplifting, they're giving a handicap to corporations. They're making sure that they are at the very front page. They are making sure that corporations are the number one thing you see in the search results, and they are basically shadow banning all the YouTubers. Like, they are giving corporations a huge mega advantage over us.
That's true. Yeah, it's a shame. That it's a great shame, and I do feel they've sold out. I mean, do you think the sale of YouTube to Google was the problem? Do you think that's when it all started to go wrong?
It probably went wrong when they gave the company over to Susan Wojcicki.
Yes, I don't like. I know Sargon's made some videos about her. No, I don't like her at all. It's a shame. It's of course there's several so many alternatives now though. I mean, like some of them I watch over on BitChute, like Styx Hexenham. I think he's the biggest BitChute content creator right now, and I only ever watch him there. I don't even watch him on YouTube anymore because he has exclusive content over there anyway. So that's taken off, BitChute. It really is.
Yeah, there are some alternatives like BitChute, and I don't know how to pronounce this other one because I think it's pronounced library, but it's just completely it's
Library.
LBRY.TV. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I use that one as well. That's it. I think what's going to happen at some point is essentially the internet is going to split into two. You're going to see basically these are going to be like the mainstream internet where the news will be, YouTube, TV, and things like that, and there'll be a few. Any independent content creators they'll be limited to so much by what they can produce. You'll be able to get like the very bland kind of vloggers like Mo Vlogs. Probably he'll be allowed. There'll be cat videos, makeup tutorials, etc. But the interesting stuff will go the other way. It'll go into these various blockchains, these peer-to-peer systems and things like that, and you're going to see that bifurcation more and more. I suspect as time goes on, as the desire to put this genie back in the bottle it comes along, because no one realized it would be like this. I think when they first came along, the people in power didn't realize what modern social media would give to people. I think they would have probably dipped it in the bud if they'd known.
Yeah, it's like before, when YouTube was new, they did, the corporates, they didn't really take it seriously. And again, when it came to Fred, the very first YouTuber to reach 1 million subscribers, they were very receptive to him. He was on Nickelodeon, and I think he was on Nickelodeon like 3 times or whatnot. And I think that they even put him on a TV series. I think so. Like
There was a movie, yeah. There was a movie in the
yeah.
cinema, I remember. And he's quite funny. I don't think he's very controversial, but he's very funny.
But now it's like they're shadow banning YouTubers. Like now they're like, no, you guys are now a threat to us. It's like they give corporations a huge advantage. Like there's one rule for us and another rule for corporations. There's one rule for us and another rule for like Logan Paul or Jake Paul. Like when they went to one of them went to a say what, because when you mention what, they censor your video. Like anybody who talks about this forest, even mention it by name, they get their channel censored.
Yeah.
But they went to a special forest, and he took, clips of people who, did certain things to themselves, and he was like fine, or they gave him a slap on the wrist. But anybody who ever talked about it, they got censored in some way, shape, or form. They would either have their videos taken down or whatnot. They would get a strike or whatnot. Something bad would happen to their channel. And it's like, wait a minute. How come he's held to one standard and the rest of us are held to another standard? How come he's allowed to get away with it, but nobody else? And it's become so unfair. And I wouldn't be surprised if more and more people would start using alternatives. Like right now, people are attracted to the name YouTube. YouTube is a familiar name that everybody recognizes, but I do believe that eventually people be like, bitch shoots, because you can see more regular people like you and me, instead of basically having, YouTube giving corporate media an advantage and putting the rest of us at a severe disadvantage.
Yeah, they certainly do that. I mean, I remember the Logan Paul thing. And it's true. I mean, you're right. We probably shouldn't even go into details about what it was about, but he was very apologetic afterwards. I mean, he did a video where he was crying because of what he'd done. But because he was such a big, possibly it was an income issue, because he was monetized, and of course they take a cut. YouTube take a cut of the monetization, and because being a mainstream YouTuber, he was far more popular than you or I think would ever get. But I mean, you see the same thing with PewDiePie. I mean, PewDiePie I think, is he still the biggest YouTuber? I think he was for a while the biggest YouTuber. I don't know if he still is.
Yeah, I think he would still be at least the biggest individual content creator, because I know that he was having this competition with what was that Indian company, Bollywood or something? I forgot what it was, but he was in a competition with some Indian company, and then he made that really funny video. It's like, all of my subscribers are real, but you paid for subscribers, and he mentioned all of these controversies that this people competing against have committed.
Yeah, it's like well, one of the things that I mean, funny thing is, like he did one of the jokes that he made, and I won't go into details about this, but basically he made a very similar joke to the one Count Dankula did. Count Dankula is a Scottish YouTuber who, well, he got his dog to do something very he trained his girlfriend's dog to do something very controversial and politically incorrect. And he actually was prosecuted. He almost ended up in jail. He ended up with a £300 fine. But he, I don't know what's happening. He's still got his channel, but he got into terrible trouble. PewDiePie has done similar jokes, and he's got away with it. But before you answer, can I just, is it all right if I take a comment from chat, Rin? Is that all right? Won't be a moment. But
that's okay.
Someone's asking a question from chat. Here it is. Bill BitChute, question for chat. If you could inject Bill Gates with anything, what would it be? Oh, it'd probably be one of his own products, BitChute, I would say. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Yes, I'm getting the use of this. Yeah, that's right. Very definitely the way. But do you remember Count Dankula Rin and what he did? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He seems a nice chap. I don't think he meant any harm. He's still active. He's still active, which is on various places. But
yeah, and the weird part is, wasn't he a communist at the time? Like, I think that at the time he did it, he was a communist, and I think he has a communist tattoo on his chest.
He does, yeah. He was. I mean, now he's kind of like a libertarian, but he was. I think he was very left wing at one point. And he became sort of a libertarian. He's sort of like a centrist libertarian now. Although, of course, he's branded. He's got this evil. He's been branded as some kind of evil monster because of this very. I understand it was a pretty risque joke he made, but I'm glad he wasn't sent to jail. But I myself, I think my problem came when I started. I mean, no, I'm Steve. He's probably watching this, but I made some. Oh, your camera's gone, Ren. Are you all right? Hello.
Yes, I'm just hot, and I just wanted to turn the heater off.
Right, you are. No problem. No problem. I got some. Yeah. Dalai Lama says he got the dog to vote Labour. Oh yeah, Buddha, the little bug. He's so cute. My girlfriend's always going on about how cute he was. David says, Splendid Isolation says, it's outrageous that they prosecuted Count Dankula for a joke. Yeah. Yeah, I can understand. If people had got upset with him and blocked him, I'd have understood that. And I would have said, okay, that's fair enough. I mean, some people might be upset by what he did, but to make it a criminal matter, unbelievable. Yeah, definitely. But Jago, very shut up. Hey, Ren, all right. I think on my own problems, I think began when YouTube changed their terms and conditions, and one of the things they said was that people who state opinions running contrary to the scientific consensus would be, they said this was against now their terms and conditions. So if there's most scientists say this about something and most scientists say that about something, then you should, if you say things that run contrary to that, you'll get. I don't think they actually said they'd remove videos. They would over certain subjects. They said they remove videos over to things to do with vaccines, but even the flat Earth for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not a flat earther, but I don't see any harm in any people who think the Earth is flat. I think they're wrong, but I don't think there's anything wrong. There's something bad about it. But you okay? You're all right there, Rin?
Yeah, I do. I do feel okay. I was just coughing. I feel like sneezing.
All right, nothing too serious, I hope. But I made some videos, and some of them I think were reply videos to Steve Mumbling, and they were very popular. So Steve Mumbling, he's not in chat at the moment, but he's my kind of like, I think he's the Christy Winters to my son. If I'm Sargon of Akkad, he's like my Christy Winters. You know what I mean? He's like, but I made he's got some opinions about certain subjects to do with which run contrary to which run in favour of the scientific consensus, such as the UFO issue, and I disagreed with him. You know what I mean? I don't know what you think about this. If you can I ask you, Rin, have you ever looked up into the sky and you saw something and you think, what the hell is that? What is it? I don't know what that is.
No, never really felt that way.
You've not. It's
Yeah, we talked about this on my channel, and when it comes to, UFOs, do I think it's, aliens from outer space, from another planet? Absolutely not. Do I think it could be, um like Russian aircraft or Chinese aircraft that a person doesn't recognize, like an unidentified, objects, but it's like a new Russian airplane or a Russian drone, that could be classified as a UFO, because UFO just stands for unidentified flying objects. If there's an object that you cannot identify, it's a UFO, on a technicality. And it could, just be like a Russian drone, a Chinese drone, but do I think it's aliens from outer space? No.
all right. That's kind of what Steve Mumbling was saying, but indeed, you're right up to a point, because sometimes you can see things in the sky and you don't know what they are, and it could be some kind of unusual aircraft. It could indeed. In fact, if you look at like the spy planes that were around in the late 50s and early 60s, they were very sophisticated aircraft, such as the SR-71, the U-2. When I look at the SR-71, it looks like something modern. It looks like something that was built in the present day. Yet it was built in the late 1950s and flew secretly for many years. It was only declassified about 10 years later. But so yeah, if I saw that, I'd think, what on earth is that? And the same with other things such as kites and the ubiquitous weather balloons that are always blamed on these sorts of things, definitely. However, there are occasionally people report things which I'd say defy explanation. That is, they see them very close, they see them in great detail. They are people who are sometimes professionals who are in a situation where they're trained to be a good observer, such as pilots, air traffic controllers, people like that. And they really don't have any motive for making it up, and they say that was not something I recognize, and I saw it very close, and it doesn't look like anything I'm familiar with. And this isn't to say it's definitely from other planets. I mean, I don't think anyone knows for certain what they are, but I would say it's not an aircraft. It's not anything like that. And they're seen everywhere. I mean, it's very, very common around there. Very common. Lots of sightings there, indeed. So, have you seen the U.S. Navy and what they've been what's come out of the U.S. Navy in the New York Times?
No, I haven't been paying attention to the New York Times too much.
Oh, right. Oh, they've actually come up with sort of like a scoop from the U.S. Navy that they've been reporting, seeing really the pilots have been reporting things they really haven't seen. Yeah. So just see what someone else. Does anyone else have a question? Anything you want to ask Rin? No, I don't think there's anything want to say anything. I think they're just talking amongst themselves. So what else inspired you, I think, Rin, to make the videos that you make?
Yeah, I just, I think my channel was different back in the day because YouTube had less restrictions back then. Right now it's harder to make, because so many topics is either going to be censored in some way, or it's going to be a lot like YouTube has all of these really strict rules, and not only that, but their punishments is far too harsh. I think that their punishments is more severe than Twitter, because I don't think Twitter negatively impacts old tweets the way YouTube negatively goes after, old videos. With YouTube, if you get strikes, you get 3 strikes, the next thing your channel is terminated, and that even includes old videos that you could have made a decade ago. So if somebody were to go through your video and you made a video a decade ago, you don't even remember making it, and it's against YouTube's new rules, then you would get in trouble for what you made a decade ago, even though what you made a decade ago was acceptable to the rules at the time. Now, for me, I haven't really had that problem with Twitter because a person did, went through my tweets and they found a tweet that broken the rules. All I did was set my account locked, and Twitter was like, okay, remove this really old tweet, because a person like digged up a tweets that I wrote like all the way back in like 2018 or whatnot. It's like, yep, I'm gonna flag you, report you for this tweets of 2018. Twitter knew it was malicious. They knew it was vindictive. There was like, okay, if you remove this tweet, then if you remove this older tweets, we will give you your account back. I removed the tweets and I got my account back. Now YouTube, there's no, okay, delete this old video and keep your accounts. Instead, 3 strikes and you're gone. It doesn't matter if you have like 1 million subscribers. It doesn't matter if you have 1 million subscribers. You make a living off YouTube. If it's how you pay your bills, if it's how you take care of your family, 3 strikes, your channel's terminated. So if you use YouTube to pay for the bills, it's kind of like you're out of work. If you're using, YouTube to take care of your family, you're not going to know how to take care of your family anymore. Your family's going to need help, all because one person decides to be very vindictive.
So it's like, in a sense, for the people for whom YouTube is their full-time employment, they don't have the same rights that somebody else would have. Like, for example, if you're contracted in a normal job, yeah, they can't just tell you. They can't just like let you go at any point they like. At least I know in my country they can't. And then but on YouTube they can. They can just get rid of you because, as I said, you get like these fake strikes, these fake attacks. I mean, they've changed the copyright system, I've noticed lately. So if you, in the old days, they used to actually give you an active community strike. Now they put your video into, they block the video in certain places, things like that. Sometimes I've had they can remove videos still, but I think the reason is they realized that most of the flags, whether it was community guidelines, whether it was copyright, more than 99% were of, say, copyright infringement complaints were either non-existent, or they were so petty as to be inconsequential. And it was obvious that it was people doing it for personal reasons. This has happened to me. I got into trouble. I got a community strike. I got a copyright strike that I managed to get lifted, but I had to dox myself essentially to the person who put the complaint in.
Yeah, I also had the same problem with my channel. One of my videos, it was an anime review, and my anime review got a copyright strike because I played like I'm not sure if it was Nickelback. It probably was. No, it was. Well, I forgot, but it was Give a Little Bit. I was playing like a Give a Little Bit, I believe, by, I forgot the band's name, but it's just kind of like you could barely hear it. It is like really, really faint. It is just really, really faint noise. Other people was like, yeah, it's really faint. They could barely hear the music. They could barely hear the lyrics. It was just basically just a little humming in the background. And I still got a copyright strike for it, you know.
Oh man, that's you see, it's it's unfair that, because it's, if people put up a third party strike and you just get ads, that's reasonable. I mean, I've got loads of those. I've got loads of third party strikes just for little clips of music and things like that. But to have your channel actually threatened, I think it's like something that wouldn't happen in any other employment. And as Michael Truder says here, don't rely on YouTube for income. Now, that's
Especially nowadays.
yeah. So, I mean, this is something that I don't, obviously. I mean, I was considering monetizing my channel a couple of years ago, but I worked out from my viewing figures I'd probably get less than £4 a week. It wasn't worth it, and to have ads everywhere. But for people who rely on it, it's better to maybe just keep doing it part time. I'd say keep your job you got now as a steady income. Then they can't attack you in that way. Just do it as a hobby.
Yeah, what a person needs to do is keep your full-time job. Do not, quit your full-time job for YouTube. Keep doing YouTube part-time. Wait a minute, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Yeah, and if you are big, do what Blair White does. Don't have all your eggs in one basket. Have YouTube, have a Patreon, make sure that people could give you money through Patreon or give you money through what's the other one? Subscribe Star, or sell t-shirts, write a book, have multiply your way to get money. Don't just be a like YouTuber only. Like there are people who have a Cameo, and with Cameo you could give your fans a personalized message for an income. It's like you give them a message, they give you $20. But make sure that you don't have all your eggs in one basket. You don't want to be a YouTuber only and then lose your channel or whatnot, and all your money's gone. What you want to do is like you want to have your books out. You want to have your clothing line out. You want to just really, I mean, especially like if you're really big, like Blair White big. Blair White almost have 1 million subscribers. You just want to make sure that you're not getting your money one way. You want to make sure that you're getting money like here, there, here. That's the way. That's if YouTuber screws you over, well, you still got money coming in.
That's the best thing to do, yeah. And then you can move on to other platforms as well. And you could just say to people, if ever I disappear from YouTube, you'll find me on BitChute or on Library. And here's T-shirts and things that I got as well. I got one of Sargon's T-shirts actually once. It was one of his older ones because he's been doing this for a long time. So he's got some more as well. So you can do things like that. I have written a book. I've written 3 books lately, actually. It's about UFOs and things. But have you written a book at all? Anything like that?
No, I haven't. I've thought about it, but it's like it never came out just right. Never comes out right.
Oh, what would it be about if you ever get it written?
Um, it's like I like the fantasy stuff, like wizards, vampires, and whatnot.
Yeah, it's when I first came across you. Well, I think what drew me to your channel was you had a very judicious attitude towards various internet controversies. I mean, you describe yourself as a radical centrist,
Mhm.
and you were dealing with people such as like Kevin Logan, Christy Winters, we've already mentioned, Sargon of Akkad, and the internet blood sports people like Warski and all the others. And you seem to be able to analyze it in a calm and collected manner. Is that would that be fair to say?
Mhm. Yeah, but it's hard to talk about any controversial things these days. But yeah, I made videos criticizing Sargon of Akkad. I definitely made videos criticizing Kristen Witters because at this point, before Dee left, I used to love her. I remember back during the time the left loved her. Now the left can't stand her. It's kind of like, and there's an element of we told you so. We told you so, but they were doing the whole, us versus them. It's kind of a lot like nobody wanted to criticize Christy Winters because she was one of them. It's like, no, 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 no. Like, because Christy Winters is one of us, we cannot criticize her. But now, now, like, so many people are like, you know what, we don't like you, we can't stand you. Like, I remember when David Sherritt called her out And when ranting feminists called her out, now Vosh is calling her out. It's like now more and more people just can't stand her. So now instead of it just being the anti-SJWs that hated her, now everybody hates her because it's like we told you so that she's insufferable.
Yeah, I mean, she's one of these people I do watch regularly, but I've watched her and I go, oh god, she's like, I just think to myself, oh, I can't stand her. You know, it's like it's a weird thing. I feel like those two old guys in the private box at the Muppet Show. You know, going, why do we always come here? I guess we'll never go. But what seems to be the problem with her. She's like, she's annoyed. Obviously, she's annoyed like the skeptics and like the libertarians in the atheist community, like Sargon, of course, and people like that. But there's people on the left like Vorsh, who's like a kind of I don't know, you call him an economic leftist. He believes in the old notion of class being everything. It's almost like a kind of a Marxian attitude. But Christie's more a new leftist. She brings in like the intersectional the element as well. But there's others like who else was there? There's several others who have a go at her, and from the left as well as from the. Oh, there's the TERFs as well. Don't like her because she's like intersectional feminist. So I don't like the trans people. Don't. I mean, she supports the trans community, and where's this going to lead? I mean, if these divisions deepen and they continue, they can.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Kristen Winters, she brought it on herself because she is insufferable and difficult to get along with.
You know, she's sort of like she swears a lot and she calls people names. If you're in live chat, I've seen her do this. I've never posted in a live chat for this reason. But if you say something she doesn't agree with, she'll call you a snowflake and things like that. It's really it's really nasty. But Kevin Logan likes her though very much. I think he seems to be like a.
Yeah, I have friends who are friends with Kristen Winters, you know, like Chris Yossi's friends with Kristen Winters. What's the other one? Lonely Wolf. Lonely Wolf is my friend, but he's also friends with Kristen Winters. They almost ended their friendship because of me, because Christy Winters contacted Lonely Wolf and told Lonely Wolf to tell me to shut the fuck up. And he's like, wait a minute, you're not gonna boss me around and order me to tell Rand to shut the fuck up. You know, it's like, you know what? You know what? And he had some really close, colorful words for her, and I think that they blocked each other, then stopped blocking each other, and then they're friends again.
Yeah, he was a very. It's like if she's going to swear at people in the chat in comments boxes and things like that when they disagree with her, and she did to you as well, Christy. She did that to you once, and I thought, well, what's the point? Wait, what's the point of that? I mean, you get on all right with Christiosity. You've done shows together and things like that. It's like what it means is that people just won't want to interact with her at all, and they'll just make videos about her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I actually made a video about her once. I made loads of videos about Kevin Logan, and the thing like Kevin is like I used to think he was just sort of like an admirer of hers. He wanted a relationship with her. I think now he just seems to look up to her. I think he's kind of like but he there was one video when they had an argument. It was over Bernie Sanders because she didn't like Bernie Sanders because he kept dipping in and out of the Democratic Party, and Christie thought he was a bit of a con man for that reason, and Kevin didn't like it. The next day, he deleted that particular live stream, and he made a video saying how wonderful Christie Winters was, and he was almost crying. And I thought, what's going on, Kev? You know, you're not a little kid.
Yeah, he's really close to Christy Winters, and she seems like a bad person, like a really bad person, because normally people know how to treat their friends well. Normally people know how to be a good friend, but like she even treats her own friends like shit.
Yeah, there's other. Someone said something about Sargon. Here we go. This is splendid isolation. Sargon says some sense, but he insists on a lefty bent. I mean, that's odd because the left think he's a Nazi. Splendid. I don't know what you mean. Oh my goodness, you think he insists on a left? He insists on lefty bent. He hates the bloody. I mean, he hates it. He's always going on about the leftists and things like that. I think, what is he? He calls himself a liberalist. Is he still keeping on with that?
I haven't really been paying attention to Sargon for a while, because I mean I was his Patreon for a while. I was on the Patreon of Sargon of Akkad for a few months, but then I saw him losing debates. Like he lost the debate to Richard Spencer, and it's like, what, you lost the debate to Richard Spencer? And then I didn't think he did all that well at what's it, MidCon with Richard Carrier, where he was like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. And I just thought that was unprofessional. So it's
Mm.
kind of a lot like, after seeing him with Richard Spencer and Richard Carrier, I just stopped paying attention to him.
Yeah, sometimes he comes out with things, and I think that's so good. He just like seems to hit something on the head. The Brexit issue here, but his coverage of the EU referendum and the Brexit issue was brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. But then other times, I sometimes think he's kind of playing for his audience. Do you know what I mean? He's kind of a shock jock, and he's playing for his audience. I suppose it gets him more viewers, but I don't blame him. I mean, he's got a wife and kid. He's one of these people whose livelihood absolutely depends on what he does. There we go. Diego Rivera 2 Genius 2 says, what does Rin think about Donald Trump? You've made a couple of videos about him. What do you think, Rin?
I don't care for either Trump or Biden. I'm not pro Biden, not pro Trump. I don't care for either one of them.
All right. Okay. Who would be your ideal statesman, do you think? Who would you like to see run for president of the United States?
Well, he already ran and lost, but I during the primaries I really took a line to what's it, Rand Paul?
Rand Paul,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, he lost to Trump in the primaries, but it's kind of like Rand Paul. It's like, wow, like he was the one person that I really wanted to vote for president. He was somebody I was like looking forward to. It's like, because I think he has some like libertarian views, and I really liked some of his libertarian views. And it's kind of like, I want to see you presidents, but he lost. He was losing in the primaries, and as you know, Trump is our president now. But it's kind of like when I saw Ron Paul in the base, it's kind of like he was the one person that I really, really wanted to be president, and another person that I liked was like Marco Rubio.
Yeah, Rand Paul I think he's the son of Ron Paul, I think, if that's correct. And
Yeah, I think so.
I always liked Ron Paul, who was like he seemed like very fair, and he sort of talked about things that other presidents, other people don't, other politicians don't. I mean, I must say, I do like Donald Trump. I do think he's a good guy. I mean, I'm British. I can't vote for him, but I have always liked him. Marco Rubio, incidentally, is I mean, I didn't really know much about him except he was up against Donald Trump in the primaries last time. But I don't think you've been following this story very much, but he's been part of this UFO business that's just broken out. He's part of this Senate Intelligence Committee. So that's quite something. Let's have a look here. BitChute says, vote Kanye 2020. What's all Kanye West doing running for president? Do you hear about that?
I think he's just doing it to sell more albums.
Yeah, it may be just a publicity stunt. I mean, people in this country do that sometimes. They'll run for office, usually like chosen for a local, as an MP, a member of the House of Commons, in order for publicity. That's just the case indeed. I did wonder if he was doing it to try and take votes away from Biden, because I know that he was very keen on Trump originally, and he's also, a lot of people look up to him, including black people in America look up to him, and he may have been able to split the vote, their support for Biden. I thought that might be his trick, but I'm not sure. Besides which, he put in his nomination too late for many states, so he can't actually. I don't think he can actually run completely. But let's see what else anyone says here. Diego Rivera says, "Oh, we want Ben to become Prime Minister of England." Do you think they'd ever? Do you think they'd tolerate me? Do you think they'd ever have any of us? It's funny that though, isn't it, Rin? I mean, it's the thing about democracy is it's a place where you can nominally choose your own leaders, yet no one seems to be able a way of actually choosing someone they like. I mean, politicians in democratic countries, statesmen, they have a very, very low opinion. The people generally have a very low opinion of them. It's a terrible credibility problem. Some of them have approval ratings in single figures. You get people voting for negative reasons. Like, you see this in this election. A lot of people most of the people voting for Biden are just doing it because they don't like Trump.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing was true with the 2016 election. There are people who voted for Trump only because they hated Hillary, and there are people who voted for Hillary only because they hated Trump. But there are so many people mad at Hillary Clinton because she stole the nominee from Bernie Sanders. And it's kind of a lot like, at first I thought that Hillary Clinton and Trump were equally as bad, but then I thought, Hillary Clinton is significantly worse because at least Donald Trump fought fair and square. Hillary Clinton, she was actually supposed to lose to Bernie Sanders, but she cheated her way to the head and took the nominee away from Bernie Sanders. So that's the reason why I voted for Donald Trump the first time around. I just thought that Hillary Clinton was too nasty to be a president.
It's probably true. I mean, if she won, God knows what the state things would be happening right now. But it does seem to be that in countries like, well, I think you get it everywhere, but I mean, in the democratic countries which are supposed to solve those problems, you get the people who generally get into high office are some of the most loathsome people imaginable. I mean, they're cowardly, they're cruel, they're stupid, they're weak, they're corrupt. They seem to embody everything that's awful about humanity, and with very few exceptions. I mean, there are a couple of exceptions, but nearly all of them are like that, and no one seems to know exactly how we stop this, how we prevent these people rising to the top.
Well, I mean, I do have an idea on it, and I think I have an older video on it. What we should do is go from, in America, we go by first past the post. I think we should switch to the alternative vote. The alternative vote is like when you write your favorites, but should your favorite loses, you write, you pick the second option. You go like 1, 2, 3, So if there is 4 available, you could just be like, okay, if this person doesn't win, then I want this person, and then if that person doesn't win, I want this other person. So you just pick the order you would want this to go. So right now, with first past the post, if you were to vote third party, it's like, well, if you like this third party candidate, and if you liked Donald Trump, then it's kind of like, wouldn't it be better to vote Donald Trump? And some people are being really calculating, like, instead of voting for this third party that has 0 chance of winning, vote Donald Trump. But with the alternative votes, people know how you would have voted. So there's no loss. A person could vote third party if they want to. It wouldn't take anything away from Trump. So if a person like a libertarian candidate, more, let's just say that a person like was it Gary Johnson more than Trump, and they really wanted to see Gary Johnson be president. But Trump is actually their second choice. What they could do is start a number one for Gary and number two for Trump. That's the way you could vote your conscience, and then you could vote in somebody you really like rather than voting for the lesser of two evils. It could just move us away from voting for the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, proportional representation is that system, and indeed they do use it in some countries in Europe. In the Scottish Parliament is also like that. So, but I think it probably would be better, actually. I think they had a referendum in Britain a few years ago about whether we would switch from first past the post to proportional representation, and they chose to stick with the existing system in the referendum. And I believe in supporting referendums, as all regular viewers know. But I think that was a disappointment. I think the system you mentioned, the proportional representation, would be an improvement. A question from Diego Rivera: what are Rin's predictions for America? What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, as far as the elections are concerned, I believe that Donald Trump is going to win. The reason why did I think that Trump is going to win is because he has the incumbent's advantage. Like he already served one term, and when you already serve one term, it increases the likelihood that you would serve two terms. Not only that, but Biden is not doing a really good job. He seems to have dementia. He he's he seems to have dementia. Then there's all the rape claims coming out where multiple women, like Tara Reid, is saying that he raped them, and Biden is supposed to be the progressive choice or whatnot. Then not only that, but he said that Trump was the very first racist president that America has ever had, which pissed off the progressive community. Like so many progressives got really mad and angry that Trump said, I mean, not Trump, but Biden said that Donald Trump was the very first racist president. And, it's kind of a lot like he keeps angry. And not only that, but Biden also says that if black people don't vote for him, he's like, well, you ain't black then. He keeps getting himself from controversy after controversy after controversy. There is no real enthusiasm for him. Like at least with Bernie Sanders, you saw real enthusiasm. You can see real enthusiasm for Bernie Sanders. The media, social media outlets, they suppress enthusiasm for Trump. Now there are people who are enthusiastic for Trump, but those people get censored. These people get their accounts deleted, they get suspended. We know that social media actively suppresses people who are show support for Trump. It's probably a surefire way for people to hunt down old tweets and try to get you kicked off Twitter. But I mean, even when you do Twitter polls, like I did, a Twitter poll. I don't know what the results are going to be, but so far Trump is in the lead. You could retweet the poll if you like. All you had to do is just go to my Twitter accounts and find a poll which says who do you think is going to win for presidency. So far, Donald Trump is ahead, and Biden, when I last look, was at 0%. You just see more enthusiasm for Trump, and when people cannot show their support one way, at the very least thing you could do to show your support is voting for Trump on the Twitter post, saying he's the one that I would want to keep as a president if you're censored every other way.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting that you mentioned the Twitter poll, because if you go to the official places like the BBC, they all disagree. They all say, "Oh no, but Biden's way ahead." And these are the ones that Christy Winters keeps referring to. She did the same actually in the last election. She did the same with the impeachment and everything. I think what it could be, that it seems that the mainstream media is very pro Biden, and they're trying to demoralize Republican voters. They're trying to maybe demoralize them to the point where they won't bother going out to vote. It's you see, because I know what you mean about the enthusiasm gap. I mean, I've got a picture Actually, I've just done. I don't know if I shared it. I'll show it to you later. But it's two pictures. One's like a Trump supporter and one's a Biden supporter in their house. So they got the posters out in their garden in their front yard and things like that. And there's one guy's got like Trump, President Trump, make America great again, things like that, all over the house. The Biden supporter just has a little sign in the garden. It says "fuck Trump," and this is the impression I get. Joe Biden is no one's voting for Joe Biden. He's just a walking ballot box for people who don't like Donald Trump. That's all he is. And he's gonna probably drop dead before, if he wins. I don't think he will, but if he won, he would drop dead, and then Kamala Harris would be your president. And nobody seems to like her. I mean, she seems very unpopular with the left, right, and center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, many people on the left don't like Kamala Harris. Many people on the left, they don't like Biden. What I see from the left is vote for him anyway. So it's kind of like they hate Biden, but they hate Trump more. They're kind of like, well, we do hate Biden, but what choice do we have? What choice do we have, presidents? It's like Biden is a piece of shit. We hate his guts, but we're going to vote for him anyway because we hate Trump. It's more anti-Trump than pro-Biden.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny, like, because you're right about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders seemed to offer something positive. I mean, whether you agree with him or not, at least he was different. At least he had some kind of vision, some kind of positive vision. And then it's very disappointing, actually, because he's done this twice. He gets screwed over in the Democratic National Convention. They, as you said, they essentially stole the nomination from him. And the old fool just goes and endorses the candidate that did it to him. And he raised $255 million for his 2016 campaign. And Hillary, like you say, through corruption, through the DNC, she maneuvers him out of the race, so she's the only nominee. And he goes and endorses her. And all those people who donated that money wasted it, essentially. Which is, I wanted him to sort of say, even though I don't agree with him on things, I wanted him to sort of challenge that, to expose what had been done to him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when it comes to it was Bernie. I mean, at least he had genuine, enthusiastic voters. Like you would see, like all of these young people, like all of these Zoomers who would wear their, Bernie Sanders T-shirts, and they're like, "Okay, Boomer," they really loved Biden, and there are so many people they would take to Twitter, and they're like, "We want no, not Biden, but Sanders." Sorry, I got sorry, I got their names mixed up. But you see, all of these young, Zoomer, Bernie Sanders, supporters. I mean, Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee. Bernie Sanders supporters, where there would be like Sanders. We want Bernie Sanders. I feel the burn, and they would go to Reddit. They would show their enthusiasm. They would wear their Bernie Sanders T-shirts. They would be so happy and so excited, and it's kind of like when Bernie Sanders lost, they started supporting rioting. That I would go to Reddit, and they were like, because Bernie Sanders lost, they now joined Antifa, and they're rioting on the streets now. That's Bernie Sanders. He actually did have a cult following, an actual little cult following who really wanted him to win. But you do not see this with Joe Biden.
Exactly, yeah. Funny thing about Bernie Sanders, I know his brother. His brother Larry actually lives here in Oxford, where I live, and he's a councillor for the Green Party. That's the British Green Party, and he's. I used to be quite left wing when I was sort of like a teenager, and I just started working at the hospital. I used to go to trade union meetings and things like that, and he was always there. Larry Sanders was always there, and he even turned up I saw him actually last year because he was at a fracking protest at the town hall, and I sort of waved to him. He sort of waved back. I don't know if he remembers me. I mean, it's a long time ago, but I went to school with his daughter. Oh God, she was a stuck-up little cow. So she was. I got a question from Paul Armstrong. Hi, Paul. How are you? Um, I believe America is a third world nation with a first world veneer. Do you agree, Rin?
Yes.
Hmm. It's a funny thing. Like people use these terms like third world, first world, and they say things like that's a third world country or first world country. I mean, there's even like they say they're split. For example, Italy is often considered a first world country in the north and a third world country in the south because it's so different. But yeah, I mean, I've looked at. I mean, I've never been to the United States, but I see so much variety in terms of like culture, but also wealth. I mean, you see very rich people, you see very poor people as well. I think it's even more so than Britain. I mean, you get that in my country a little bit, but it seems to be exaggerated in the United States from what I've seen of it, from people who've been there, from pictures and videos I've seen. Can we go in an hour now? I don't know if anyone has anything else you want to say. Do you want to add anything, Ren? We've been putting the world to rights for an hour now. What else would you like to say? Do you have anything?
I mean, if you want to end it here, we can, or we could keep going. It doesn't matter. Like if you want to talk for an extra 30 minutes, an extra hour, or if you want to end it here, that's good for me. Either
No.
way is good.
I'll have a look at see if there's anything in comments. I haven't been able to follow the comments because normally I like to do solos. This is the first time I've ever done a YouTube like this where I haven't someone else on. So hope I've done a good job here, guys. Hope you're happy here. Just see if anyone has anything they want to add.
I
I
saw
can't.
something interesting. Like one of them says, "Happy I donated to Jill Stein after Bernie Sanders sold out to the DNC." Like, for me, like I really do wish the third party candidates, had a chance. Like
I
it
think it
would
would.
be nice. That's the reason why I would have liked it if we could have switched to the alternative votes. I would love to see a person who votes I mean, I would like to see a third party candidate win instead of being stuck with the same, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrats. I think the establishment sucks, and it would be nice if we could give a third party candidate a chance.
I'd like to see new blood actually on the stage. I really would. I'd like to see more political parties, different people, and with proportional representation, that would actually get a lot easier. For example, in the Netherlands, there's all kinds of different parties. Let's just have a look at what happens here. Jana Ramos says, I've been watching documentary on the Bullingdon Club. It's a globalist outfit. I know, that's it. That's like a secret. It's not a secret society. It's kind of an elite dining club here in Oxford. Boris Johnson was a member, David Cameron, people like that. I don't know if you have anything that in your part of the world, Rin, that you're aware of. Secret elite dining clubs and things like that. Are you familiar with that sort of thing?
I mean, back when I was a teenager, I was more familiar with that type of stuff, but I've long since forgotten about that.
Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Let's have a look here. There's lots of references to Brexit here. How familiar are you with the British situation?
When it comes to Brexit, when I was watching Sargon of Akkad, I was very much pro Brexit. Brexit seems like a good idea. Not to mention, there I didn't see any good videos on reasons to remain. It's kind of like I know that John Oliver would last week tonight made a last minute video on why Britain should remain, but the problem was the video was too last minute, and Paul Joseph Watson already debunked, all of those points, like,
Mm.
it's like waiting last minutes is a bad idea, because, it's like, well, I've already watched Paul Joseph Watson refutes all of your points. So it's like, I would be pro Brexit.
Well done, yeah, good for you. And indeed, I was very much, as you know, if you've seen my videos, and it was like, it's the whole. It was not unlike the Biden situation. When people who were voting Remain seemed to be voting, I think, for the wrong reason. They were voting out of fear or because of guilt or something else like that. And it was all various negative emotions. There was nothing positive coming from the Remain camp. It was all maintaining the status quo because they were terrified of change.
Now, that's the one reason why I appreciate leftists that do know how to argue. Unfortunately, the people like, well, maybe you see it as beneficial, that the loopy leftists are at the top and the smart ones are always at the very, very bottom. But there is this guy on Twitter, and I find that he is actually good at arguing. His name is Social Equalizer. I don't know if you've spoken to him before, but Social Equalizer, he's actually a great debater, but he's he only has like 200, no, like 2,000 followers on Twitter. I mean, so nobody's ever really heard of him. And, at the very top, you just see, really loopy people like, Francesca Ramsey, and everybody would hate these people, or it'd be like Lena Dunham. And it's kind of like, well, everybody hates Lena Dunham. Even people on the left hates Lena Dunham. Even like neoliberals hates Lena Dunham. It's like it would be always the most dumb, stupid, annoying, obnoxious people on the left that are at the very top, and the people who actually do make really good points, for better or for worse, they're usually at the very bottom.
Yeah, that does seem to be the case. I mean, there's some people who just being hated is almost a part of their identity. It's almost like a career for them in some cases. Yeah. Oh, hello. I just want to say hello to David. I've not seen you for ages. So, well, I'm on your Telegram group, but just want to say welcome. That's really, really great. And we have here Bernie Sanders is the equivalent in the UK. Corbyn is also more intelligent. I don't know about that. I don't know how familiar you are with Jeremy Corbyn and what.
When it comes to Jeremy Corbyn, I'm glad he lost. I'm so glad that Jeremy Corbyn lost. I thought that Boris Johnson was a far better candidate by a landslide. And when I was on Twitter, I would, be promoting, pro Boris Johnson tweets. And when Boris Johnson won, I was really happy for England. And I am so glad that the British made the right choice by not choosing Jeremy Corbyn, because not that, but there were so many scandals that were coming out where Jeremy Corbyn, he was like an anti-Semite, and not only is he like an anti-Semite, he's like a communist. And Boris Johnson, he seemed a lot more reasonable.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I don't think Corbyn was an anti-Semite. He was certainly a communist, though. Definitely a communist. And I was very pleased when Boris won. Now, as this has no doubt come up in chat from people like Diego Rivera, but things have gone downhill a bit since the election with Boris. I think he seems to have lost control. I don't know exactly what's happened with him. Maybe they threatened the baby. I don't know what it is, but he's now. He seems to be floundering a little bit on various things in a way that Trump is not. Like he's sort of like succumbed to some kind of pressure. He's caved into some kind of pressure.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Oh, right. Okay. Let's have a look here. We got like see what other comments we have here. All right. So I've been through. I don't think there's any more here, but Rin, yes, what's this here? So Thantiop says, I think you mean goes. Here he goes with threatening the baby. BS again. Why is it BS? So Thantiop, don't you think that people in power, people in control of this world, or people who are put into office have higher forces that are like the deep state or the swamp, whatever you want to call it? I don't know what you think about that, Rin. Do you think that there are people in office at the moment in various countries who have essentially the sword of Damocles over their head, threatening to drop on them at any minute?
Well, I mean, I am glad that this topic was brought up, because somebody actually sent me an article not that long ago. I forgot who sent me this article, but basically, the Jeffrey Epstein case. The judge, a judge who always rules fairly. Like there's this George judge that does a good job, and they killed her son, a fetish guy. Well,
Yeah.
a murdered her child and wounded her husband. And I could send you the link.
I think I remember I remember this. I think, and I thought it was just a very odd coincidence, something very strange. But I remember this. Yeah, it was like.
Yeah, I could try looking for the
Sure.
article. I think I found it, and I could just send it to you. I could just drop it in the chat.
Yeah, sure, by all means.
Yeah, it's in chat now where federal judge son got shot and husband wounded in a gun
Right.
attack.
I've heard about this. Where is it? I can't actually see it right now. But this thing with StreamYard is like there's a little bit of a delay whenever you put something in chat. Not to worry, not to worry.
Well, you know what
Yeah,
I could do? It's like I also send it to you on Twitter. Let me
okay,
send it to you on Twitter.
thanks.
And it's kind of a lot like, so here she is. She's gonna do the Epstein case, and then her son gets killed and her husband's wounded. So it's kind of a lot like, it's kind of like you kind of know that, hey, make the right decision. It's like make the right decision, make the right choices. It's like if you
Oh yeah,
if
federal.
oh, go ahead.
Yes, yeah, it's an odd thing. It says federal judge's son, 20, he's shot dead, and the criminal defense attorney husband critically injured after a gunman disguised as a FedEx driver ambushed their home 4 days after she was signed a case linked to Jeffrey Epstein. It's odd that he had this disguise on. It looks very sophisticated if he's wearing a disguise. He's dressed up as a delivery man, and he goes to the house deliberately. It seems it seems very specific. It's not just like a burglar who broke in and he shot someone because they spotted him. I think like that. And I mean, is this some kind of coincidence, or are there still people who desperately who want to be? There's an awful lot of secrets still left to come out. For example, Ghislaine Maxwell, she's in jail at the moment. What's going to happen with her, do you think? Do you think she's going to live to get into court?
Oh, you cut off a bit, but was cut out, but it's not a coincidence. It is not a coincidence. I'm surprised, like this is the sort of things that happen on TV, and it's kind of like, wait a minute, that happens in real life too. I'm used to things like that happening in TV, but it's like I'm slightly surprised that things like that actually happen in real life, but it's not a coincidence. It's like there are things like, it's kind of like, with Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton and whatnot. There are things that's, it's like, hey, they don't want the public to know.
Yeah, that's definitely. It's now Maxwell is in prison. I think she's probably. I don't think she'll be a suicide because they've done that one before. It's just too obvious. I mean, no one believes that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, but it'll probably be COVID-19. I reckon she'll catch it. That's what they'll say. She'll catch it and die, and they'll say, "Sorry, she's dead. Case closed." Because when someone dies, they don't. There's never any inquiry. The case is just shut, and there's no kind of the names that would inevitably come up at a trial would not come up. So what else? Anyone else got something to say to here? Oh, so Stanjob says apparently she came off suicide watch today, a year after Jeffrey came off. Oh, really? Just a coincidence again? Is that another coincidence, I wonder?
Wait a minute, they took her off suicide watch?
Yeah, which means I wonder if that's an opportunity. Maybe that's an opportunity for something to happen. I don't know. But if she goes to court, I mean, she's going to names are going to come up. I mean, Prince Andrew. Who else? We always know the spotlight's very much on him at the moment. I wonder who else. And Bill Clinton apparently took 26 trips to to the island. It's a lot of powerful people who don't want their names dropped, definitely. Right. Does anyone else want to mention anything? No, but okay. I'll have to go through these. Now, what I might have to do, guys, is I might have to basically re-upload this because I'm not sure. I haven't checked the live chat for trolls. But if I do it, the recording will be uploaded again. It's just that some of you, I mean, you all look. I've only ever seen good guys up there, but there could be some idiots. I'm just going to check. I'll have to check in a minute anyway. But hey, Rin, do you want to add anything else? Anything else you can think of? We've been had a good talk, an hour and a quarter. That's not bad. But if people want to find out more about Rin Michaelis, if you go to the description box, there's a link to her YouTube channel, and also there's another link to my Hapanwo voice article, because where I actually have a link in there to an interview I did with Rin last week on her channel. So I hope you enjoy that. But it's been good to talk to you. It's been great to get a guest onto the Hapanwo TV, and it's good to have you as my first guest, Rin. So thank you very much for being on the show.
No problem, and I'm glad that I am your first guest.
It's been a great honor. It's been a great honor. And everyone else in the chat box, thank you very much for contributing. It's been really, really great. I'll be back very soon, as I've got a lot of things planned, so there'll be a video coming from me in probably just a couple of days. But take care, all of you, and good night.
Good night.